I'd introduce the rector of the school. Is in the person of Dr. Nai. Dr. Nai is a product of NAFTI, a proud product of NAFTI, and also Beaumont University. So the two of us happened to pass through the same channel. We went through NAFTI to Beaumont, and I don't want to waste your time. So, Dr. Nai, please, your audience.
All right, thank you very much. This morning I'm running a little late. I should have been here earlier, but they say it never rains, it pours. Everything happens to be happening today, so I just had to pass through and come. But I think I'm not too late. So I should also have been with you. We met on Sunday evening. I thought I should have passed by Monday, Tuesday, but Tuesday we had a board meeting. That's a big one. So we had to prepare, and that's why you haven't seen me. But I have been with you in spirit. So welcome once again. I hope those of you who, some of you have, this is your first time in Ghana, isn't it? And I believe you are enjoying your stay. Wednesday, I hope that you enjoyed your trip to Kakum. Yes, I've been there a few times. Even if I had come along, I wouldn't have been on that because I fear heights, and the thing appears to be swinging, and so welcome. And Mr. Ajokata is here. He's just released a film, and it's running. If you have time, pass through Silverbird and Big Man Wahala. All right. Okay. So I have a little speech which I wrote some time ago for Fresh Craft. So I'm just going to read through it a little. So it's with great pleasure that we welcome participants from all over Africa and Germany who are here to exchange experiences and work together these few days to finalize the scripts. This forms the second part of the writing training, otherwise known as Script Camp 2, which runs from the 2nd to the 9th of March 2019. We're in the midst of it. Our participation in this program is an indication of our commitment to bringing international best practices to support our training and professional advancement here at the National Film and Television Institute, NAFTI. We are for this reason happy to be affiliated to a number of international film bodies, such as the Film School Network, which embodies a number of African film schools, and the Berlin Film School, DFFB. This, we believe, is creating a mutually beneficial cultural exchange resource which will help improve and advance film and media production in Africa. This program, ladies and gentlemen, the Fresh Craft Screenwriting Lab 2 ties in with the focus of our training in NAFTI, which is to produce scholarly professionals who can critically reflect on the African society and create images that truly represent and enhance the African identity. Our two core strategies, therefore, is to ensure academic excellence locally and internationally through our affiliations such as this one. So congratulations to all participants for having come this far in this project. This is a great opportunity. Please make good use of it. We also say thank you and well done to the mentors and all who have helped to put this together. Thank you, Jagan. We wish you all a pleasant stay in Accra, Ghana. Maybe I should have read this speech on the first day, but it doesn't matter. We've read it anyway. So welcome once again and have a good time.
Thank you. Hello. Thank you. Okay, we're just about to roll. So I'll call on Jürgen. Jürgen is the project. He conceived the project and pushed it to the whole network, and the network accepted it. And so today he's going to make the opening for us on movies and series. Basically, that's the theme that we're going to deal with today. And so, Jürgen, please.
Hello, guys. I'm really happy to be here again. We've been here with a group of film schools, representative of film schools. It was in November 17 where we first met and discussed this program, and finally we are here. I'm really happy to be again here at NAFTI and with all these wonderful people from Uganda, from Rwanda, from Kenya, and of course from Germany. We set up this program with MAPSHA Film Lab, and Phoebe is with us, and Phoebe organized this great workshop we have had in November in Kampala. Thanks a lot again. And this time we are here. So the basic idea of our program is to bring film students from East Africa, from West Africa, and Germany together, and heading to the production of a series. So the first two workshops are dedicated to develop scripts, and now we are heading, rushing into production. For today, I prepared some just as a keynote, just some thoughts about movie and series, because most of us coming from film production, and series became in the last 3-4 years the big thing. I spoke the other day at our school to one of the directors, and she asked me, is now everything serial? Can't we do anything like a single film? What happened? So of course serial is the big thing because audience changed and also the market changing. So, and we try to adapt to this kind of situation. For a writer, from the writer's point of view, when you think of a single film, the composition of a drama, you focus on a single story. You have a protagonist confronted with an antagonist power. There are growing obstacles and stakes. Mostly it's a linear storytelling, and you are dealing with a 3-act structure. Decisions have to be made in a final confrontation. When it comes to series, we are talking to a story world, not only a single thing, but a whole world we need to create. We have a group of characters, we have a plurality of events, of stories and plots, and we're talking about continuation. It's episodic, it's non-linear, and a series is mostly something where a conflict cannot be solved at all, because when the conflict is solved, series ends. So a series is a kind of storytelling with a never-ending conflict. So for a writer, for a film, it's a writer with a story, it's a director or writer with a film, and we have a production company with a problem. Because the producer wants to finance this film. In a series, we have a group of writers, we have a showrunner. Hello. This is the supporting music, it's fine. So we have a showrunner in a series, in this group of writers, and this is one of the major differences to a single film, so that a writer is taking over and taking the responsibility, the creative responsibility for the whole thing. We have a creative producer who is, or she is also, of course, attached to the showrunner, And we have mostly a production company with a future. Because when a production company is producing a series, there is future. A never-ending conflict, one season, other season, again a season. This is different. If it works. So for a producer for a movie, it's he's searching constantly for different sources to finance, but he is independent or she is independent, and the production company is having a slide of rights for single films. For a producer of a series, there is mostly only one source of financing. There is a dependency on broadcaster, commissioning editor, NGO, or whatever. And the producer mostly do not have any rights on their products. So they sell it, they receive the money, they have a future, but no rights. So for an artist, what is for an artist? So artists could be the director and of course also writer. The artist, I mean, they are struggling with form and content. They're searching for style and tonality. They are dealing with a cinematic language, hopefully. We are coming from film schools, so we are watching films and series which are rooted in our cinematic traditions. So, and of course, they need to bring the needs and the production needs and the vision together. This is the struggle of the artists. So this is just I wanted to give some thoughts for the upcoming discussion between two very experienced and well-known filmmakers from Ghana. And Katharina, she's head of study at our school at Berlin. She will moderate. So please, Katharina.
Yes, please. So can Ivan and Peter come join me, please? Otherwise, we're not going to have a conversation.
Hello, hello.
All right, so since not everybody in this room knows these men as well as the Ghanaians and NAFTI students probably do, I will introduce both of you briefly and talk a little bit about your careers and what you've been doing so far, and then we'll get into a conversation. This being a conversation, it would be great if all of you just raise your hands and ask questions whenever you have any, because I would love to not be the only one talking here, but I would love for everybody to join in if you want to, okay? All right, so Ivan, there you are. It says in the internet that you're the backbone of the movie industry in Ghana.
Really?
Yeah, it does. So that's a big thing, I guess.
I think they lied to you.
Well, the internet never lies.
Well,
so.
we did a bit, yeah. Okay.
No, but seriously, you graduated from NAFTI?
Yes, I graduated from NAFTI in 1992. Incidentally, I was in the same class with the rector. So
a successful year
back.
then.
Yeah. And when we came out of NAFTI, there used to be an industry, a film industry. We had a Ghana Films Corporation, and then we also have Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. And besides those two, I think it was Videomat was the only place that you could find employment. And so the state controlled these two, Ghana Films Industry and GBC. And so it was difficult to really find a place to work. So I ended up in an advertising agency where I worked as a copywriter, radio TV producer, and then became head of production. And yeah, so that side of my story allowed me to, try the things that I learned from NAFTI and sort of help to influence the film industry. I'm sure a part of it is true. So that's my story, yeah?
Okay. And now you have your own production company called
Farmhouse Productions, yes. I've always had my eye on trying to produce stuff. But when you work in an agency, you produce to brief. So I was always having that kind of conflict, wanting to be independent, create my own content and all that. But because I wasn't getting that opportunity, I thought I should leave and set up Farmhouse Productions. And in any case, the industry had now taken off, and we now have private TV stations, private independent producers and all that. So I thought I could also do the same. Yeah, so that is what I did, and yeah, we've been at it for like 12 years now.
And then you produced 2 very successful TV series. The first one called Things We Do for Love, and then the sequel of that, YOLO, which I think was even more successful than or more well known than the first one, right?
I think that the first one, the Things We Do for Love, it addresses the youth at different times of this thing. So the youth in 1999 saw Things We Do for Love, and I'm sure if you ask them, they will tell you that it was the most popular. It's more popular than YOLO. And the youth of today would say YOLO is more popular than Things We Do for Love. So really, I think it depends on who you ask. Yeah. But then those are series or serials that I produced in response to brief. Was done as an adolescent reproductive health campaign, and was addressing issues that has to do with the young people of today, peer pressure, teenage pregnancy and stuff like that.
Were you interested yourself in telling stories for young kids, or did it come to you as an offer or as a job, or how did you start even thinking about the concept for this?
Well, Things We Do for Love was a brief, and it was part of a radio production that we were doing. We were doing a talk show. What happened was that when we launched a social marketing campaign called for Ghana Social Marketing Foundation, and at the time we were advertising condoms and fertility control medication, contraceptives, on national television and then on radio. And because GBC and GBC was the only outlet that we had, there was some backlash, so it was cut. So we had to find a way to bring the stories out. And then private radio came. So we developed a radio drama series called Things We Do for Love. And then we had a phone-ins, and people started asking for TV. So that is how that was done. In terms of YOLO, too, was a brief. But I can say that part of it was part of me, in the sense that I have a son, teenage boy, and one day I went to his room and I saw a condom, and then I was so upset, you see. So I called the mother, come and have a look at what this boy has here.
But that's a good thing that you had that, right?
It's a good thing, but I was upset. So so she came in, had a look at it, and turned and left me there without saying a word to me. So I was like, but here, I'm talking about these things. She didn't mind me, and she left. So I sat back and I was wondering, at what age did I know about condoms? Then I realized that mine was like 2 years earlier than my son's. So it was then that the idea came that, okay, why don't I make the people in Things We Do for Love the parents of the teenagers that are coming into YOLO? Do you understand? So that is how you can say it's a sequel.
Okay.
And so that is what I did.
And YOLO was produced for the National Population Council, right?
Yeah.
So how did that influence your work as a filmmaker and as an artist? Were you able to do whatever you wanted creatively, or how much did they try to
influence?
Yes.
Well, there are key messages in everything that they want to do. I mean, they have something they want to say, but they want a palatable way of saying it for the young people who are on the move these days, who are distracted, and who have so many things that they are allowed to watch. They can see things on their phones and all that. So the challenge was, how do we sweeten the story, the key messages, in a way that they would stop and watch. And so National Population Council and the other sponsors were not too, they didn't really influence the story per se, but they were interested in how their messages came across. And most of them are trained communicators, and they know how we are supposed to blend this kind of entertainment education methodology into our storytelling. So it's a bit restrictive, but not so much. It might interest you to know that following YOLO, I produced a serial called House of God, which was my own idea, creative, this thing. And I've been trying to sell it for some time now, and it's so difficult to find buyers. But because a buyer came to me in terms of finding, producing YOLO, the funding was there. You're able to produce, and but they don't show you where to place your camera or what kind of shot sizes to take. So that's the good thing.
That's the good thing. So you've been the producer and the director?
Yeah.
Also the screenwriter?
No, I have a team of screenwriters.
Okay.
One key one, and then other consultants to work with. Yeah.
So how was? But you work together with the key writer as a director?
Yes.
Okay.
So for instance, we're about to do season 5, and because we were, because I came up with the idea. You really have to, get the screenwriters to buy into it, and then you have all these kind of discussions, and then you build the episodic synopsis for all of them, so that you can tell the progression of the story, and then after that you get them to start writing. So there's some initial back and forth that happens between myself and them, but then after we get a story well formed, then we present to the client, who now start looking for their key messages. And then once they find them in it and they are properly articulated, they let us start shooting.
Can we talk a little bit about acting? Because there are a lot of young actors in YOLO.
Yeah.
And someone said in an interview, I really read a lot about you last night, that you have a very, no, it's important though, that you have a big talent of bringing out the best in young actors, which is great. So can you talk a little bit about how you work with the actors? Are they all professional actors, or are they young people that you street cast and then bring on screen, or how do you do that?
So I was just about to say, how did you know all these things about me? Well, that's
Wi-Fi.
Good. In terms of casting, I mean, having worked in advertising and learning from directors from all over the world who used to come to shoot commercials with us, I realized, and we were always looking for the look before you look for the delivery. And that was what we were doing in advertising. And so in casting for YOLO, I employed the same thing. And when we started Things We Do for Love, the interest in productions and acting wasn't that as huge as it is now. Right now, when you make a casting call, you would have thousands of people coming to line up to want to act for you. Those days, you literally had to go out and beg people, explain to them that there will be a camera here and there will be a sound man standing here and all that, before they would even have an idea of what you're doing. So my style of casting was drawn from the experience I had from advertising, But then one thing and also what I learned from NAFTI, we did some psychology here, and it comes handy when I am casting. Well, I ask a lot of questions. I would ask about people's background, their parents, because at that young age, they are not actors, they are not trained, they are not able to move out of their comfort zone into the character that you want. So you want to cast them close to their life experience. And so that is what I do. And some of them you would find after the productions that we've done, that when they are now doing other things, they find it a little difficult. But then you wonder how come they excelled in producing YOLO or Things We Do for Love. It's because they are close to themselves. The other thing too is that I allow them to be themselves. So I hardly show you what I want you to do, but you show me what you are capable of doing, and then I mold it. I ask you to, can you turn it a little bit this way or that way for me? And so we work like co-conspirators, and no one knows what we're doing, but then we end up. So that is maybe in brief my philosophy or my style of casting people. I'm just happy that most of them are now big time. Yeah, when I'm working with them, nobody minds me. They get to take the selfies with the actors, and they leave me out.
Thank you very much. All right. So, Peter, first thing I learned about you on the internet is that you're recently married. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Beautiful pictures, too.
Yeah, thanks. You can never have your privacy.
So you're also a graduate of NAFTI, far more recent one. You graduated in 2016, 17, 16?
I completed in 2015, and then my graduation happened in 2016. Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay. You also have your own production company.
Yes, I do.
Old Film Productions. Was it founded right after you graduated?
It was founded when I was in school. That was 2013.
Okay.
Yeah, while I was in school.
And do you produce exclusively the films that you do, or do you produce for others as well?
I produce exclusively for myself, and then I sell to those that want to buy. And so that's what I...
That makes sense. Okay, so right after NAFTI, you did your first feature called Keteke. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, Keteke.
Keteke. What does the title mean?
Keteke is a local parlance for train. That's how it's called locally. I mean, virtually every local language in Ghana calls train Keteke.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Successful film. It won many prizes. Just recently, second prize for best screenplay at FESPACO a couple of days ago.
Yes, yes.
Interesting question. Why it was your first film? You did another film after that,
Yes.
but still that film still goes to festivals and wins prizes. How is that working?
That's an interesting question. First and foremost, in our part of the world, I mean, let me say Ghana, for instance, it's so hard to find people who are willing or interested in the first place and are willing to push their money into your production, because they've not come to understand the business of film, and so they don't see how beneficial it is to them financially. And so you end up using your personal savings, like your own money, to fund or probably support from friends to fund your project. No matter how passionate you are, you just have to do it yourself. No one is going to support you. And so I had to choose between making an artistic choice and then a commercial choice. That was the decision that I had to make. And so I said, okay, with Keteke, I said I was not going to go too artistic, because at the end of the day, people watch it, clap, they give you a few plugs, and then it sits in your shelves, and doesn't come with money. So it's like you wake up and then you look at the plugs and then you touch your pocket. There's nothing that's added. And so I just had to strike a balance of making it artistically beautiful and then commercially viable. And so I struck a balance. And that is why even after its commercial success, the artistic part is making the award, the film festivals. With the second one, I just thought that, okay, this Keteke is still new and it's still making rounds. I don't want to create a competition for my own film yet. And so this is just a time for me to make some commercial gain as well. So I went strictly commercial with my second film. And you know, commercial films are like those perishable goods, like tomatoes, and then they consume it and they're satisfied, and then they forget about the rest of the. And so that is how it. I mean, commercially, the second film did better than the previous one, but in terms of festivals and awards, the first one did so well. So I felt that the balance did so well for me, and it's something I intend to continue doing.
So you were the writer, the director, the producer, and the editor of your films.
Yeah. So like I explained earlier, so.
How do you manage that? Because it's such a different set of skills for everything. So I don't know how to do that.
Interestingly, I mean, NAFTI is very, very competent in training a student in whatever area they pursue. And although producing is not like a major here, it's also taught. And so if you happen to be in a producing class, you cannot live and not have an idea of how to produce a film. And the scripting is also something that is taught as part of our course. So you cannot live here and then not have an idea of how to write a script. And so when you leave school, like I said, that it's difficult to even form a team because people see you as a fresher, so they cannot identify with you so easily. And of course, with my first film, I had the privilege of doing one short film when I was in school. That was A Traveler, which also won a couple of awards, including FESPACO again. And so a lot of my mates had that confidence in me, including some of my teaching staff. And so when I was doing my first feature and I called on them, they were willing to come even at a very low prices because they knew that this was going far. And so that was some of the things I leveraged on. So it was difficult for me to even find a producer to produce the film because, of course, who is this guy? He's not done anything before. Why would I put my hopes in him? And so I eventually ended up doing a lot of things. So that was the good part that I would commend NAFTI for because they had trained us in almost all those aspects that we could do in a way. But as I'm moving forward and I've done 1, 2, and people know that, okay, this guy, we can work with him and then get somewhere. I'll start relegating some of those duties to some people to carry because now I can work with other people that have trust me and they are also good in their areas.
Okay. Can we also talk a bit about casting and about your actors? Because your film is really centered on those two wonderful main actors and characters. How did you find them? Did you know you wanted to work with them and then you wrote for them, or was it the other way around?
Okay, so when I was in school, I did a couple of short films and then I sort of screened all of them together where I invited the school and industry practitioners. And so all these movie stars in Ghana, most of them, a lot of them showed up, including technical people showed up to watch it. And so that was when Ajitian, and when he saw one of my short films, said that he loved it and he would like to work with me one day when I'm out of school and start a professional practice. And I was like, oh wow, you brought yourself like virtually. And so when I was on trip in Finland for the exchange program that NAFTI sent me on, I got the idea for Keteke, and he was the first person to come into mind in terms of that character. And then the lady also came into mind. So I started writing my story with them in mind. And so when I came down, it was first a short film. And when I came down to Ghana, I saw that if I'm going to spend virtually the same amount of money I'll spend on it, on the short film, and not making money out of it, so why wouldn't I just extend it and make it a feature length and make money? So I did that. And so I approached Ajiti Anand, who was already with open arms and then got on board. And then the Lydia Fosun was the one that was a bit skeptical because who is this new guy? And so she had to go back door to be asking Ajiti Anand, who is this new guy? What has he done before? So he made her understand that, oh, he's seen a couple of my short films and he thinks I'm good. So he's on board. And so, okay, then if you're on board, I'm on board. And then we did magic. And so, yeah, that's how it happened. And so... And so that's how it just word of mouth that got me. And some of my previous jobs that got me the people that I got on the film.
Another really, really important element in the film is music.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of music.
Yeah.
There's the crazy band on the train
Yeah.
in the end. Can you talk a little bit about your concept of the use of the music and why you chose this music? And also, please tell me about these guys on the train. Are they a professional band and you like them and they ended up doing this for you, or how did that happen?
So I like music. Unfortunately, I don't know how to sing, but I like music. I love music. And so I try to, when I'm making a film, I try to make something for everyone. I try to say, okay, if you don't like the entire narrative, you should like the music. If you don't like the music, you should like the cinematography. If you don't like the cinematography, you should like the acting. So I try to create something for everyone. And then with Keteke, I just thought that because of the theme and the you know, it's a road movie. And so I thought that I should just, music is like the heartbeat of everybody, like Africans, we love music a lot. So I just felt that I should just include it in my film, just to put a certain tonality to the whole movie, which of course worked very perfectly. But getting the people was another thing. The band, the one that did the main composition.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's Walasi. I had to virtually I gave him the script prior to production. I gave him the script that this is what I'm going to work on. I want you to compose music for me. And so I want you to read the script. And I'm sure he didn't read all, he read some part, but I virtually told him what it is. And so when I did the first cut of the film, I went back, I watched it with him, and then I told him where I'll be needing music. So now I had to cut the parts that I'll be needing the music and then send to him for him to compose the music to fit the time frame and that I wanted it to fit. And so that is how we worked on it. With the people in the bars, of course, two of them were actors. They don't know how to sing. Of course, one of them has some voice for singing because he's done a cappella in school before. He was my senior in secondary school. And then I was looking for good a cappella, good music, something that would even touch the audience, even if they are suffering from the kind of thing the lady was suffering from. And so I had to fish. I was not getting actors that could provide that for me. So I went to this ICGC. Someone introduced me to some people at ICGC where I went to meet them. It's a church. Oh. So I went to meet them and then they were good with the voice, but they were not actors. And so now I had to strike the balance. And I couldn't bring 4 non-actors in the, because I wanted some comedic element also at that particular So I was like, if I give it to you for free, your TV station, that means that you're just going to have your audience watching it. I'd rather put it on YouTube for everybody to watch so that I have enough audience. So I put it on YouTube and then I monetized it and I was getting some some coins from there. And then some distributor chanced on it and they sent me an email that, oh, they've seen my series and they liked it. And I was like, okay. So we started talking about it and then now they needed, and I told them that, oh, I'm even working on a second season. So no, it's okay. Then they want the season 1 and 2. And so I told them, okay, they should just make some payment. They did a minimum guarantee, so I'm upfront payment. Then I used that money to go and produce the second one for them. and
So you put it on YouTube, and afterwards the TV station bought it?
Yeah, they bought it. The distributors, distributors bought it for other countries. So they dubbed into French.
Okay.
And then they currently South Africans are also dubbing into Zulu. Is it KwaZulu or something? Zulu. Yeah. Yeah, it's Zulu. It's Zulu, eh? Yeah, they are dubbing into Zulu for some. They say MTN, some mobile something. So, yes, shots. Yeah, they are dubbing into the Zulu also for them. Like, so that's how it worked. And so they didn't even care that it was on YouTube. They just saw the viewership and like, oh, okay, a lot of people are watching it. How many viewers did you have on YouTube? It's been a long time I checked the viewership. It's only when the money comes that they prompt me that you have. You have it. That's when YouTube prompts me that, oh, you've got some money in your account. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's it. So I started with the series before the movies. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So when we're talking about financing, right? I mean, obviously YOLO was financed because it was a brief. And then you said that basically you take your own money whenever you can, and then you try to make money out of the things you do. Yes. So first you have to do them, then you try to sell them.
Exactly.
So is there any state-funded possibility to produce films or series in Ghana?
Not at all.
Nothing.
So let me tell you something quickly. Like, what I don't know the genre that Ivan did for his new series. There was this will happen when I was first selling my TV series. The distributor that bought Master and Three Mates, I pitched another series to him. It's a good series, but it's drama. And so I told the person that, okay, this series had only aired on one TV channel and it's good, so it's available for sale. And he said that, oh, you're not ready to buy it because it's aired on TV. I said, but I told you mine aired on TV and it was even on YouTube for the whole world to see, and you still are interested. I was like, well, but they are not ready. So I just found that, okay, there are certain, that's to me, I can be proven wrong anyway, but I just feel like there are certain genres that people relate to mostly than others. Like comedy is universal. People want to laugh. They don't even care whether there's a star in it or not. Once it's funny, they are good to go. And then when it's drama, then they want to see people that are known, like in terms of their territory, people that are known that will appeal to the people to want to watch it. And so I that's why sometimes I have focused more on, as I'm starting now, I've focused more on doing a lot of light-hearted drama or maybe comedic series to just get where I want to get to. Then I can reconsider doing other things, basically. So it's an issue of choice. I don't know what his challenge is. Maybe he would want to share what some of the feedback they give him, so that we could also put them into thoughts when we are making our productions. Yeah. Yeah, maybe what feedbacks are they giving?
Please talk.
Sorry, I'm taking your job.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
I'm relaxed.
Okay.
Okay, all right. Yeah, my experience, after Things We Do for Love, I produced a series called Fortune Island, which was drama with a bit of comedy, but mainly drama. And then I enlisted the help of a marketing company, the Charterhouse, to market this production. It took them over a year. And I think those who know Yvonne Nelson and all those big stars also came out of that particular one. But then eventually we got onto DSTV and all that. But the returns wasn't good enough for us to be able to produce another. And at the time, we didn't really have the YouTubes and the rest to go out. The thing about sponsorship in Ghana is that there's no funding from government, and also the private businesses are also do not understand, and they are not interested. They want to buy, if they bring import soap, they know that this is 1 million cedis worth of soap they've brought in. They will get 1.5 million, and they have their profit. They can understand that, but in terms of film, they don't get it. So that has been the main challenge. Funding has been the main challenge. When you put in money into film, you should be able to get your money back and some, so that you can produce some more. And at the time,
live from it in the meantime.
Yes, and live on it. And for a long time, the TV stations here in Ghana do not operate like the TV stations outside of Ghana, like in South Africa and Europe, whereby you are commissioned to produce. So the money is made available to you. Here, you'd have to find the money to produce. Then, like he said, you have to go and find people who have commercials that they want to run on TV, so they can put their commercials on your program, pay you for it. Then you would now pay the TV stations. So you go and buy airtime to run your commercial, your film. So you find money to produce, you find money to pay for airtime, and then you sell the airtime within your program to make.
But what does that mean about the quality of the products? Because if you have a budget, and if you can work seriously, and if you can hire professionals, then obviously you will have a higher chance of producing something that of high value. But if the TV stations force you to do everything with little money and with little time and with a lot of pressure, then what does that say about the quality of the products?
Exactly that. The quality wouldn't be that great. And the thing about even the money that is made available, if a TV station decides to give you money to produce something for them, is far, far lesser than what you would have used to produce your own production. So unfortunately, the TV stations, or the industry that we have here, is also owned by business people. Mainly those who think of the bottom line. How much are we putting into it? How much are we making? Rather than the quality of work. So when you watch TV, you would see some very substandard productions on air, and you'll be wondering why. But it's because of the costs involved. They would rather go buy Mexican soaps and Indian soaps, which may have done their circuit in those areas, and so the prices are cheaper. You can buy one episode for $100, and so how much? I mean, if I can show one episode for $100, why should I pay you thousands of dollars to produce a local content? So that has been the issue that we have been facing in terms of finding money to produce and also producing, putting things out. The good thing about the system we have now is the advent of social media, where social media is now making us the kings because we have the content, and the TV stations now need us to give them the content. So it's leveled the playing field a bit for us. And then also the telcos, those that have 4G, have very fast internet downloading this thing. One of my clients is MTN, which is the largest telco in Ghana, and they've just launched a platform called MTN Shorts. I think it's in all their 22 countries, and incidentally, we are leading the marketing of MTN Shorts here, and so it's a platform that people subscribe to, little money, 20 pesos a day, and the good thing about it for us is that when people subscribe, they forget to unsubscribe. So whatever it is, you continue to make some money to be able to produce your stuff. And so if you are lucky to have a good number of people, like YOLO, we released YOLO on YouTube, and within a week we are able to hit about 200,000 views or 300,000 views, depending on it. And now that we have been on break for a while, when we come back, it's even going to be a lot more. YOLO used to be watched like 2 million, 2.5 million people a week. Do you understand? So with that, if it were to be on shorts, you can imagine the amount of money that we would be making. And compared to YouTube, this is much, much more, because you gain about 56% of the income. The telco takes 30% and the aggregator takes 14%. So it's a win-win for us now. It's becoming better. As against the situation when we had the TV stations who were determining what goes on air. There is no law that says that the certain percentage of Ghanaian content should be on air. We don't have that kind of system. So it's free for all. They can show foreign content from morning till the next morning, and nobody would hold them responsible for. So they do not owe it to us to try to help the industry develop. So there are lots, I mean, the schools are churning out lots and lots of film students, but who are finding it difficult to create things because there is no opportunity. The TV stations have locked their doors to them. They rather pay outside production houses, Mexico and the rest to produce for them. So that has been our story. And I hope that in the next year or two, when we have the internet penetration going and the rate at which people watch things these days, they don't have time to watch long forms. When we were here waiting to start, somebody would have watched some good 3 episodes of something very short on their phone, and that's it. That's how the young people are watching stuff now. When we look at the YouTube analytics of YOLO, the highest percentage, I mean, in terms of device use, it's phones before tablets. They hardly, I mean, they're always watching on their phones. So it means that viewership culture is changing. And it's important that when we are creating content, we think of that before we create, like he was saying.
So would you say that there is a clear tendency towards producing more serials and more short serials than actual features?
Well, you know, the feature film industry is another story altogether. The same because the budget is a little bigger. In terms of producing serials, it's cheaper. As a young filmmaker and as a student, if you want to start in the industry, I would advise you to start producing short stuff, because that way you wouldn't spend that much money, and finding the money to do it would be easier than finding a huge budget to produce a feature film. Like he said, he started with series before he got some money from there, and then he went into producing a feature film. When you produce a feature film, you now have to contend with marketing it. We do not really have solid distribution companies that can just buy the film off you. So you would have to be the distributor of your stuff, sometimes even stand at the gate to make sure that the tickets are checked properly. It's that bad. And then when you show the film, is it 50-50 or 60-40? 50-50, depending on the thing, what you are bringing, the stars in your film and all that. It can be in their favor. So it means that the cinema house owners will take about 50% of your film, and
of the ticket price.
Of the ticket price. So it means that you are running with your hands tied to your back right from day one when it comes to feature film. When it comes to short films, the budgets are lower, and then with the new technology that we have, you do not have to go spend so much money running around looking for sponsors. You can monetize your program, your content quickly, And if you are able to generate enough income from there, in a situation where we do not have government funding for feature films, that can become your capital into producing a feature film. So there is a feature film industry that is still, we are limping through, trying to come out. But I think that the way forward is for us to practice on short films, and that way too, you will make all the mistakes that you would make on a big film. You make it, you learn from it. So when you get onto the feature, a big film, yeah, you are good to go.
What's your next project going to be?
Actually working on 2 projects this year. I'm going on set somewhere next week to shoot one for my people to enjoy. And then I'm shooting also one around September, which is also for festivals. And so
Also, you're doing the same structure again?
yes.
One,
Yeah,
okay.
it's very necessary. It's very necessary. I mean, if you don't do that, then there's no point having the word film business, of course. So that means that in film there should be some business aspect, and that you cannot neglect it. So yeah.
But these are both feature films, so
Yeah, these are both
stick
feature
to films for now.
Yeah, I'm doing films for now. I'll do a series at some point, but I'm still looking for stories that I'm going to work on, and I think that I want to get to the position that my big brother is, that someone will say, Peter, take this money, you know what, go and do feature some series for me. I just cross my leg and okay, put the camera here. And so yeah, so there should be a point in life that you make your films with other people's money, and so I mean, gradually we'll get there, and I mean it's looking promising and positive, because my next project has some funding coming in and some sponsorship coming in, and so I think that it's a gradual process. We'll get there. Yeah.
Are there any questions at all?
Hello. My name is Mundi. I'm from Kenya. I'm with Freshcraft. My question is just in regards to what you said in the balance. I'm interested in the movie, what you mentioned. How, in terms of commercial and art, is it in terms of the way you tell the story, or what's the difference between an artistic movie, which now you present to those FESPACO and other places, and now between the commercial? And in terms of commercial, how do you rate your success? Is it in ticket numbers? Is it in terms of how many people have talked about it? And is there an actual successful formula that you can actually advise guys, and especially young guys who are coming up in the industry, to at least try out in terms of movies now? Because we kind of have a formula in terms of TV and short form content, and as someone who has done short form content, I actually agree so much with what has been said. And yeah, just now in terms of movies, I would like to know what your formula is. Yeah.
Okay, so there is the producer, there is a director. The director is interested in the actor, in whoever is, let me say, interpreting the script. The producer is also interested in the star, in the person who is interpreting the script. And so while the director is looking at how good the person they are casting is, or in terms of delivering their lines and their act, the producer is also looking at, can this person sell the tickets? And so being the director and the producer at the same time make me strike the balance. On the other side, I'm looking at who can deliver so well for me. Then I move to the producer side, who can help me sell the ticket. And so it informs my judgment as a producer not to cast people that are not, let me say, ticket sellers. They are not known faces. So I try to use a star system. Okay. And if I don't use a star system, I use fresh faces. it means that I must invest a lot in marketing them. I must make a star out of them within a promotional period so that people will yearn to see them, and then they'll move to the cinema to come and see them. But if you take people that are already established and you pay them well, and they help you promote the movie, you're already selling. And so those are some of the things that I consider in even casting for the film. So that's already a commercial balance that I've struck. And then also, what do I want to talk about? You know, I keep saying that a lot of people, I mean, you don't get out from your house and say, I'm going to watch a movie in the cinema and learn a moral lesson. Excuse me, I'm coming there right now. But you say, I'm going to the cinema to entertain myself. And so when I make films, I try, and I want to make it commercial, then I try to make sure that the entertainment value that the audience are looking for is in there, so that someone comes and tells you, oh, it was interesting, oh, it was funny, it was fun. That is what moves them to go and then watch. But when someone comes and tells you, oh, it was very educative, I like the advice. Trust me, I don't think you'll be moved so much to even go to see the film. You may even want to, okay, so what was the education about? You'll tell you, okay, that is it. Do you get my point? So I try to measure the entertainment level value and then the artistic value, and that is what I'm trying to do. People that pay money are looking for entertainment. People that want to see that the film is solving a lot of problems and things are very academic. And, you know, they are sitting down with their classes and they are looking at it. No matter how boring it is, they'll watch it to the end. It's like, wow, this is very beautiful. They will give it the awards. And so you try to and so you try to look at the whole thing and say, okay, this film that I'm doing. Yes, you can make very interesting, entertaining films and then address social issues. But you must also focus on the entertainment value first. That is, to me, what makes a commercial film. Let me just take a case in point, Black Panther. You know, it's even won awards at the Oscars and things like that. But I don't think that it broke box office because it was what the award is. Because people loved it. It was entertaining. So the commercial audience went in their numbers, and then it broke the box office. And so that is what it is. And blockbusters are not necessarily the European films. If I say European films, they are very good with films, and they can make very beautiful films that send very strong messages. But they are not blockbuster movies. The entertaining ones are the ticket, or the money-making ones. And so that's what I consider the commercial films. And so balancing the one that will win the award and then the one that will make me the money is what.
And both in one film is not possible in your view.
Come again?
Both, to combine both, to have a film that sells at box offices and also wins prizes at festivals.
It's possible. That's what I did for Kitiki. and I've just made a conscious effort that the audience are, apart from the award, the audience are the best marketers of your film. And if they watch it and they love it, that is enough for you. And so I always want to make a film that will also entertain the audience. I want them to leave the cinema and say, oh, I loved it. I remember when I was in Morocco, they had watched a lot of good movies. Me, I can tell you that those movies were even better than mine. But when they watched Keteke, they're like, oh, finally I relieved. Like, this is the most interesting film I've seen. You know, all the film depressing and you have to sit down for long. you know, so they feel it. They feel it. But, I mean, those are also good films. I mean, don't get me wrong. But I'm just telling you what the artistic and then the commercial films are. And so people want to just have a moment that they get away from the depressing mood and trying to be so analytical and, you know, like they've paid you money to go and think in the cinema about your film. Like, they want to free their spirits and laugh and be happy and get out of the cinema and distress themselves. So that's the whole concept of the commercial and then artistic.
Thank you. There was another question there, right?
Okay, my name is Mark. NAFTI level 300 animation.
Welcome.
Okay, I want to know, as a filmmaker, yes, you've said some few stuff that you went through in terms of financing your projects. Okay, have there been any instances or any point that you nearly gave up, that you think, I can't go anymore? Did you get people discouraging you, so that we can also learn something from your mistakes, your challenges, and then use it as a stepping for us to also go into the ministry?
Okay, so yeah, the answer to that is yes. Let me take it from this point. It happened with KTK. When I was thinking of making my debut film, I was asking myself that there has been these good people in the system. Okay, one is just sitting right next to me. There have been the Shelleys, there has been the Lelas, there has been so many big names. And so, if I'm making my debut, how do I also make sure that I fit into that space and for me to also be recognized? And so I thought that the first thing to do was to make a film that will call attention to itself. So deliberate. To make a film that will call attention to itself. So I chose to do KTK, Hide a Train, which no one has done yet within our space. And then also set it in the past. Just to create something that will just be loud in your face like that. And so when we started, we wrote to the Ghana Railways Authority. This decision. Why wouldn't you just go and put some people at some bar or some restaurant and also film like the other ones? And now look at you. People are going to mock you for trying something different and blah, blah, blah. And then again, I told myself, no, if you don't do something that will call attention to yourself, then they'll even look for you. They'll not even see, oh, okay, just one of those ordinary ones. So we had to go through different channels. At the point, we wanted to even go through a lawyer friend that I knew whose husband was a minister then and things. So she said, oh, sometimes when you take it from the top, the people there become so scared, and so they even try to sabotage you. They will mess it up for you. So it was later that the rector then, Professor Linus, wrote to the Railways Authority and said that I was a student here and I was doing a student project. And he queried so much into the academics, and then they said okay. And so they allowed us to use their train, and then that is how I got my relief. But I almost gave up on that particular film because of the challenges. Not because it was bigger than me, no, because of the stress I was going through from people. And so that is the point that I almost gave up on it. Yes, so I've gone through that, but I motivated myself and said I had to do it, and I'll use other channels to get it done. Yeah.
On the issue of challenges, I remember the time we were going to do Things We Do for Love. There was there was Ultimate Paradise, which was funded by Golda, and people liked it. It was made by my mentor, a lecturer from here. And then, so when we thought we should do Things We Do for Love, which was a radio play at the time, turn it into a serial, my own company that I was working in, the advertising agency, when I broached the idea, they shut me, because for them, the money must come before we act. So where is the money coming from? So that was a question they asked me and quickly told me to forget about it. But I was dreaming it. When you have the passion to do something, it consumes you so much so that you can't even sleep. It's like you are pregnant and you have to deliver it. So what happened was that I had a producer in my office. I was the head of the sub company. So I had a producer who was producing a magazine show for TV called Frital Women's Digest, and it was sponsored by Unilever. So they were using about 3 days to shoot, and they take their time to do all kinds of things. So then I offered to direct Frital Women's Digest, and she was excited. Oh, we are going to get something good. So I said, okay, the catch is that I would do it within a day or a day and a half. Then the other days, I'll save the money for those days and I'll use it to shoot the pilot for Things We Do for Love. And then she said, okay, if you can do it. So, and the way I knew they waste time a lot. So I set the shoot up in a way that I was able to produce it within the time that I gave her, and I had the days. So I shot about 3-4 episodes, and I had enough days. And then without informing my company, we had equipment, we had the personnel and all that, and we had some money. So we went ahead and shot Things We Do for Love. And then we edited it in the night in the studio and all that. Then a staff deba was around the corner, so we planned to show it to the staff. And when we told them that we had something to show, they said okay. And so when they served, after the deba, they served drinks, kebab and all that, and they were eating, and then we started showing. And the place became quiet within 2 minutes. And then they started laughing and they were enjoying themselves. And then I realized we had them. So we said, yeah, this is what I was talking about. And you guys shot me. They said, it's good, let's do it. And that was the end of it. So nobody cared about it again because no external person was bringing in money. They didn't know how to go and look for the money on the outside. So we had a meeting with USAID and those people somewhere, and I was representing the company. So I took my film along again and slotted it in after the meeting and said, you have 5 minutes, I have something to show. And then they bought it before my company became interested. So, so when they saw the numbers, they were like, wow, this is great and all that. And trust me, that film made so much money for that company. And it still makes a lot of money on the internet up till today. This film is about 18 to 20 years now. And it's still making money up till today. So don't worry about the challenges that everybody faces, the challenges. And one of the things that I have to tell you too is that we fail a lot. We try a lot of things that we fail. So your first failure shouldn't be the one that would keep you down. You'd have to try and get up and work on it. So just keep driving. If you fail, it means you have found a way of not doing it again. That you find a good way of not doing it that way. You find another way to do it. So that is something that I would like to add to it. And the other person who asked the question, I having studied a bit of marketing and combining with film, I've come to realize that there are about 4 key areas to this trade that we are trying to get into. We come to film school to study the technical part, artistic part, but most often we forget about the business side. And so I came up with these 4 things. I realized that for film to make it, you need about these 4 things. And it's like variables. So you can try and do one really well. If you try and do one really well and the others are not well done, you will not be that successful. And nobody goes to watch a film. I would say that the film is really good and it's just the script or it's just the technical values, or you would make a really bad film and do big promotion and then you would be successful. You have to blend these 4 things. So the first one is a good script. Then you must have good actors. And then you must have good technical values. And then you must have good promotion. These 4 things have to be blended properly in order for you to succeed. If you do not blend them well, you cannot really succeed.
Thank you so much. All right. If there are no more questions, thanks very much, Ivan and Peter, for coming and for sharing and for encouraging people to do what they want to do. Speaking of which, I think we would like to tell you something more about Fresh Craft, the series that we are going to produce this summer, because we're here at NAFTI and we will need NAFTI to do this. So Jürgen is going to talk a little bit more about this. Thanks a lot. Yeah, you can. I'm going to. Möchtest du, dass ich hier bleibe? Nee, ne?
It's absolutely right. We need content. And that's what we are doing at Fresh Craft, to create content. And we are still working on our scripts. And I would like to introduce to you the people who are responsible now for the next steps. And first of all, I would like to introduce our showrunner, Joel. Come up, yes. Joel is from Kampala, And I think you can introduce or tell us a bit more about the content, what we are doing, and how it comes together. That is more or less now in your hand to guide the next phase of development.
Hello, NAFTI. Yeah, so it's my first time in Accra. Really happy to be here. Not much difference from back home in Uganda, so I feel right at home. So Freshcraft is a collaboration between 3 different regions. We have Ghana, we have Germany, and East Africa. So the way the project started, just generally, is we all got in a room. We all came with pitches with 15 writers, and we had to select one pitch within the first week to work on. And the one we selected was, the working title is Stories from Accra, currently. It was done by George Mundi, actually, a Kenyan gentleman there. Yeah.
Yes. So he's the creator of the content.
Yeah. And the basic premise of the series is that you have these different people from different walks of life all coming together in one bus, and the bus is headed for some kind of catastrophe. So the way that it's structured is that you have 10-minute episodes. Each episode will center on one particular character, and yeah, you'll have development. We'll figure out who they are, where they are at that point in their life, and then everything comes together in the end when they're all on this bus and tragedy strikes. So yeah, so we're still hammering things out. We I think we settled on the project in November while we were in Uganda. That's where we had our first writing project, and since then we've been working on it virtually, which was interesting as well. We worked on that for about 3 months. Now we came to Ghana, which is good. We get a sense of what we're actually writing for those of us that have never actually been here. And yeah, it's been very exciting being here and getting a chance to be a little more immersed. We got to visit already some of the locations that we're planning on shooting in. And yes, it's a very great undertaking. We're very optimistic. Because yeah, we could have come in and just sort of settled for, we'll just do like a student level project, but we have a very ambitious, very passionate team of writers, and the project just kept growing and growing and growing, and yeah, coming at it with a lot of energy, and yeah, we definitely want to collaborate with a lot more of you, because yeah, I think for the most part we have only 5 Ghanaians on the team, so so the more of you that are available, the merrier, and the more rounded the project can be, because we do want it to be authentically African and authentically Ghanaian, more importantly. So yeah, we look forward to working with those of you.
That's one reason why we are here, because we need you. So it's a kind of marketing things what we are doing right now. So we are marketing us to interest you to work with us in August, because we're going to shoot in 3 teams parallel. It will be a series production, and yeah, so some of us will be part of this team. But I think we need more of you. So, and really, we want to integrate this in the structure here. But perhaps you should talk also a bit what you brought in the last days, story-wise, because I have the feeling you was one who really grounded this story and rooted it in African storytelling.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure how specific to be with what we're doing.
I think it's important, so because to interest the people here what we are doing also, so get the spirit and the vision of our thing.
Okay. So yeah, so the basic layer of the story is you have the drama of these different people, all strangers to each other, getting on this bus, and the bus is headed for some kind of tragedy. But now we are integrating this element of African oral storytelling and like African mysticism and really giving it a few mild fantasy elements. So it has a bit of a flair of the supernatural. Has any of you ever heard of magical realism before as a genre? Yeah? Yeah, so that's the kind of thing that we are playing with right now. Of there's something going on in the world that we don't quite understand, that may or may not be influencing the way that events are playing out. And yeah, I think that's okay, yeah? Okay.
We also have our directors here. You know how we just decided to work in this group of people from different countries. This week it started like we built a kind of collective. So the participants decides over important things, important roles. So the participants also owns the scripts at the group. So we are not yet decided who will produce, but it should be also someone from our group. Mostly will be the lady here. I think so. But for please the directors. So we choose two from NAFTI, Khalid and Ni, and also Lisa from DFFB. So perhaps you want to introduce yourself as well.
So go first.
Yeah. So I'm very happy to be here. I'm Lisa. I'm from the Fresh Craft team and the Berlin Film Academy. And yeah, I'm really, really excited to direct this thing with you guys.
So my name is Ransford Nee. I level 400 directing student here. For the 400 directing students, I'm sure you already know me. Yeah, and yeah, I'm very excited about this project. We were voted yesterday. I was very grateful. I'm still in that mood. So thank you very much. I'll just give it to Khalid to take over.
My name is Khalid Idis. I'm part of the Fresh Craft group. It's been a very fun experience and very insightful, educative experience working with the wonderful team to come up with this great idea that's going to like push the boundaries of like storytelling or telling the stories of Africa in the cinematic medium. So like, yeah, I'm very hopeful and optimistic that we are going to create something that is African and with different perspectives, and that is going to be entertaining. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I also would like to introduce Cecilia. You also know her. She's also a level 400. I needed to learn this, you know, these level hundreds and 200 and so 400. So wonderful. So, and I think she will be our producer. So the two of them will work together to develop the scripts. And as we are in a series, so script development comes first, and then the director will come in, but of course parallel they will work on the concept of how they're going to shoot their episodes. So perhaps you also want to say something?
My name is Cecilia Opombedu, the producer for this team, and I'm a proud member of Fresh Craft.
Okay, any additional comments? And please ask us if you have questions. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, just a quick question. With Fresh Craft and its story, the film that we'll be doing, we've been told about it. In terms of distribution and how it's going to be shown, what's the idea?
It's not yet decided, but of course we are planning a web series, and what we heard today is that the YouTube or these international internet channels, social channels, are a good opportunity. So we will work on this, and we develop also the post-production part and the marketing part together. So we are, of course, there are people now approaching us, distributors. Oh, we heard about there is some amazing project coming up, but we not yet decided and not worked on this issue. But it will be on the internet, for sure, because it's a web series. So.
Okay, so hello. Yeah, I would like to ask, with the story, the premise that you just explained to us, are the characters going to be from one particular geographical area, or they're going to be from different places? And if they are from one area, how then does their background influence the central idea or the thematic idea of the whole series?
Okay. Well, it's a mixture. We do have one central location, a Ghanaian village that's at the heart of like a lot of what's happening in the story. But the particular location, though, is fictional, which I think will allow us to have a cocktail of different sort of inspirations from different tribes in Ghana or even East Africa, wherever, just to sort of get a rounded sort of African community feeling out of that. So yeah, we're trying to go more continental and not trying to go too specific on one particular group of people. Does that answer your question? Okay.
More questions, more thoughts?
Or comments?
Comments.
It's a bad idea, it's a good idea.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, so what's the plan for this project? Is it going to be a story that you mentioned you're going to do a few series, about how many? You said, I think 10. So after the 10, what happens? Is it going to end there? Is it going to continue? Are you going to take stories from people, or are you going to create your own stories always? So if someone has an idea and the person wants to pitch it to you, is it welcome? So what's the idea?
That's welcome. You know, you need to understand that we are running right now a training program. So we are financed by the federal, the German Federal Ministry of Economic Collaboration. The minister of the economic collaboration, he visited Ghana just some weeks ago. There was a huge international conference about economics here. So, and just when he came back, he had to have an event at the Berlin Film Festival. He stood there and said, I was in Ghana, I just arrived from Ghana. It's also creative atmosphere here in Ghana. I liked it a lot. So this was his thought. So the minister or the ministry wants to support the creative industry in Africa, and one of the important spots for this German ministry is Ghana. So it's most likely that they are going on to support such kind of projects and programs. And we are in a pilot phase, so to say. There are 4 of such kind of projects they financed. So, of course, we are training program. We are not a production company. So we are starting this. And my idea was always to give this product to the hands of the participants, the students, so that they can form their own business built on this series. It's a calling card, if it works well, and I think so. It's a calling card for them. But whatever they do with this, it's more in their hands than, you know, we are not a company. We are a group of training program we are film schools. You are at NAFTI. We also coming from a film school, and there's also, I think it's important you come up. Phoebe. Phoebe is important. Phoebe is she is an important woman in African film industry, and especially in East Africa. So you can introduce yourself, of course, better than I do. But just to give you an idea, you know, like Katarina is head of study at our film school. Then we have her, we have Dr. Nai. So we formed this group of film schools bringing up this program, but to enabling you students to find your way in web series, but of course then you need to deal with your own things. So just like this. But it might happen that we are coming up with a follow-up of such kind of a program. So, and then we will see and take it from there.
Yes. What do you want me to say? So Phoebe Kiore is my name. I'm from Kenya, but I live and work in Uganda. I work for MAPSHA Foundation as a program director. I've been at MAPSHA for 7 years now, and our work has been primarily to introduce cinema to East African filmmakers. We work in 4 countries, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, and Rwanda. And this project has had us get out of East Africa as a market, as it were, and to start working across Africa, which has been a great dream of ours, and also to change the way that we have been running our programs, because there have been boot camps for cinema for beginners. Mainly. MAPSHA was established in 2004 by Mira Naya, independent filmmaker who made Queen of Katwe. How many have watched Queen of Katwe? Yes! That's fantastic. So this was Mira's dream to create 5 film directors out of East Africa, and we have long surpassed the mark. 700 film students have walked through our doors, over 70 short films produced, and 14 years later we were starting to ask ourselves whether we're still relevant or we've done our job and we should just close down and go home. Then in came here again, and here we are, technically. So basically the next phase of MAPSHA as an organization is projects like this, where we're supporting intermediary to advanced level filmmakers, and it's also sort of starting to take shape, and we are going with it, and we are learning along the way what support is needed. And we hope in a couple of years we'll have we have a space, MAPSHA Garden. You can check us out on Facebook. That's really pretty and beautiful and a very organic garden. But we do not have, I've been to Berlin Film School. I've come to NAFTI twice now. You guys have so much. We have so much less, but we have the passion and you know, the dream and the stories. Yeah, and so we hope in the future we can have some space that filmmakers can come more regularly, and we can offer something more long-term, because the essence of our being has been boot camps for cinema, to give people a taste of what filmmaking is all about, and so then they can go on to either continue in the self-teaching side of things or find money to go to film school. And yeah, happy to be here and looking forward to this project, and we hope those who work on the project also just, you know, we are in your, I've lived here before, by the way, about 10 years ago, I lived in Accra. So it's very exciting to actually be here and to actually make this web series here, but there's so much that we do not know that we're also looking forward to the students plugging in. To be honest, I'm surprised I haven't had anyone ask what jobs are on the table as the students. Like to these guys, like what help? They really did say that this is a marketing thing that's happening right here, right now. And when we say we will need a lot of help from you, we will do that, and maybe you can sidebar them outside of this conversation to just find out what our needs would be. But we really hope that we can work together on this with you guys as a student body at NAFTI. Thank you.
Okay. did I forget something? Please help me. So.
So yeah, Esteri, smiling.
Not if you saw this movie.
Yeah.
She is an actress.
Esteri, you understand? So yeah, so Esteri, so glad to have her here. Worked on Queen of Katwe, friend of Maisha. These are the people who've walked through our doors. Yuhi, also from Rwanda, as a Maisha alumni before this project, and we are also happy to welcome the rest. Maybe the people from East Africa, since you're all coming from so far, and those from Berlin Film School, you could just stand so that they can see you, because you have your backs to them. If the team from Freshcraft could just stand, and yeah, so yeah, that's Berlin Film School and Maisha, and yeah, we're happy to be here. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, so then that was this. Thanks for coming. That's it.
Okay, so thank you very much for coming, all students. We appreciate your time. We are formally done with you. Item 30 will happen tomorrow afternoon. For Freshcraft participants, we couldn't do the group picture with Dr. Nai, and our registrar, Mr. Doria Dano, is at the back. So please ask you to move forward so we do a group picture with Dr. Nai, and George also missed the picture. So but for technical sound, thank you very much for all your help.
I would love to thank George and Kwamina were such a wonderful host, and without you, of course, we wouldn't be able to run this workshop so smoothly this week. So thanks a lot. It was great working with you, and we are still working together, of course.
Thanks a lot. Okay. So students and participants, it's not their class, so the rest of you, we are done with you. We said 12, so please, you can go. Omar, IB, wait. And participants, can you move forward? Okay. Registrar, please. Mr. Dano. Participants, please come up. Let's do this. Register. Go on. You are too tall to be in front. Too tall to be in front. You get more height.
To my head, when all of the girls they come to my head, to my head.
No, once a teacher, always a teacher.
Yeah. You can come back. So. Okay, well, I think the plan is to do a little tour of the place, and then we'll go for lunch. Lunch is 5 minutes walk from here. So we'll just show you this place, our editing room, and maybe we can start walking towards the lunch plate when they see us.